Right, I see there's quite a few people on board already that's been waiting for me. Thank you for that. And then the question that I'd like to ask is the tax system working for you or is it working against you? And maybe I just want to make sure that I'm close. Okay. I hope that that's going to be better. Right, so in the comment section, maybe you can tell me where you're from, and then also regarding the question, do you think that you're working for the taxman, or do you think that the taxman is working for you? Right, so with that, let me see where I am. By the way, I'm Hannes Dreyer, founder of the Wealth Creators Method, where our goal is to enable normal, ordinary people, investors, property investors, entrepreneurs, business owners, in order to improve the growth on their investments. And one of the quickest ways to do that, of course, is to protect. And yet, this is not a lot of people that is doing that. And so, thank you, Tony and Mons and Janita and Werner and Lilu and Kel from Durban and Herzog and Werner. And yeah, I see there's a lot of people. Rian from Pretoria, Hubert from Grobler's Hoop, right? And Angela from Durban. So thank you for your time. I really hope that you're going to get a lot of value, and that's what I'm going to do in this session. I'm going to add value. And we're going to talk a little bit about tax and how SARS basically keeps us poor. SARS, of course, is if you're in South Africa, if you're in other places, whatever and wherever you are reside, your taxman is going to do exactly the same to you. Right, so Einstein basically says that, and thank you for the thumbs up and the hearts, I really enjoy that. Einstein said basically that you cannot solve a problem out of the same consciousness or out of the same thinking that created the problem. And who on earth do you think created this tax system that we've got? It's a political system, and the reason for that is actually very obvious, because we vote for them and then they need money in order to run the country. So it's we do not have to think a lot about that. But who is then solving the same problem? Maybe you can quickly tell me in the comment or the chat box. I don't know what. Yeah, it's a comment section. And by the way, if you listen to this at a later stage, please do exactly the same. Tell me where you're from, and tell me, participate as if we're live. And then also do me a favor, if you think there's someone else that can benefit from a session like this or any of my sessions, please tag them or share this with them. And then also, yeah, I will really appreciate that if you can do that for me. Right, SARS is working against the entire population system. I like that. Bonolo is from Rustenburg. Yeah, and it's not necessarily that they're working against us, but their job is to take as much money as they can possibly from us. So the one thing that I want you to get tonight is that it's always going to be your choice. In other words, you're going to either let them work for you or you are going to let yourself work for them. The choice is always yours. So, in other words, you can work for tax or you can get tax to work for you. And if you want to let tax for you, here's the trick. Then you have to do something. If you do nothing, by default, you're going to work for tax. And we are conditioned to believe that we can do nothing. And because we believe that we can do nothing, we're going to do nothing. Okay, so that is the thing. Jan from Kroonstad, hello, and Tim Vereniging, Charlotte from Namibia, Leon, there's no real teacher on how to pay the least amount of tax legally. People are ignorant, including myself. The rich knows the loopholes. And you're 100% right, Leon. The problem is that the system is against us, and the function of the system is to keep the average person poor, okay? And that is to keep them in place. So now we don't get it because we think that the system is for us, but it's the last thing that they want is for us to understand and to get to the truth. And therefore, they are literally hiding the truth. So you are absolutely there. And the rich do not necessarily know the loopholes. It's not a loophole as such. It's our legal right that we can do certain things. And that's what I'd like to share with you in this session. Okay, so if you're going to do nothing, in other words, if you're not going to up your skills, then you're going to work for tax. So the point is that we can do something or we can do nothing. If we do nothing, then we are giving our consent that they can tax us in the way that suits them best. And I can guarantee you that it's always going to be as much as possible, right? So how do they do that? It's actually very simple. They look at your income. Where's the income coming from? How do you make your money? And how do you distribute your money? And where do you spend your money on? And there's a lot of spending, a lot of ways to get in. That is where and how they're going to tax that. And the way that they do that is by changing legislation in order to catch you in that web that they set. And in the process, they are collecting money, but at the same time, they are taking money from you. Now, if I'm in a venue and there's 100 people and you walk into that venue and I take a gun and I put it against your head, then everyone in that venue is going to say that I'm a thief and I take your wallet and I walk out, that I'm a thief and that I've just stole your wallet. But let's change it a little bit. We're in a democracy, right? So what if you give me 5 minutes before you enter, and I can chat to these people, and I make them a deal, and I say, listen, this is what I'm going to do. Don't put up any, don't give me a lot of grief, because this guy has got a big wallet, and as soon as I rob his wallet, we're going to split that wallet between us. What do you think is going to happen when you walk in? You're going to walk in, I'm going to put a gun to your head, and no one is going to do anything. Why? Because there's something in it for them. And if we really think about it, this is the way that the system operates. In other words, the government legally take our money with the consent of the masses in order to help the masses so that the masses do not have to do anything. And they do that in exchange for a vote. That's the way that the system operates. So they take from the rich to give to the poor. If you and I try to do it, they're going to call us thieves and they're going to put us in jail. But when they do it, it is legalized through legislation. And that is what I want you to get. Okay, so what are the different forms? Let me see if I can quickly take you there so that you can see. You see, in South Africa, we get your personal income tax, we get capital gains tax, we get small business tax, dividends tax, donations tax, international air passengers, departure tax, plastic tax, electricity levies, CO2 tax, fuel levies, road accident fund. So I hope that you can see, and the list literally goes on and on. So there's mining tax and mining royalties and municipality, property tax, rates and taxes, provisional tax, security transfer tax, sin taxes like alcohol, tobacco, sugar. So the moment that you start spending a lot of money, like on fuel or on cigarettes or alcohol, immediately you can know that they're going to come in. There's transfer tax. So the moment that you buy a property, as an example, all of these are ways where they are going to tax you, right? And I think that it is crucial that we understand this. And I see Colin Bob basically is from the USA. And I can tell you that you are right, political thievery, and it happens in every single country. There's no exception, because these guys think they've got the right in order to take the money. And then the way that they get the votes, at least here in South Africa, is to tell the poor, listen, we're going to give you housing, we're going to give you water, we're going to give you a hospital, we're going to give you education. But it's bullshit, because it's the taxpayer that is actually giving all of that. And I think it's time that we understand how the system operates, because legally they can and what they normally do is they target, Robert Kiyosaki talk about the 4 quadrants, the employee and then the small business owner. And these are the 2 main sectors that they are targeting, because you are sitting ducks, especially if you work for yourself and you think that you've got a little business. And then, of course, the big businesses pay a lot less tax legally, and then the investors pay the least amount of tax. But the investors are the highest qualified, and they've got the highest skill level when it comes to that. And that is the reason why they can become investors. So this list, here in South Africa, there's a bill to be passed where they're going to add more tax. And this is going to happen, and is going to continue since I remember. They changed the tax laws on a regular basis simply to take from the rich and to give to the poor in order to stay power. So if you think that you may not be paying income tax because maybe you're in a lower tax bracket, then I can assure you that you've got a surprise, because if you look at VAT in fuel taxes and sin taxes and all of that, you're paying an incredible amount of tax. So hello Milla and Christine. I hope that I pronounced the names right, and Mons and Izette, right, from Centurion. Right, so I really hope that you see where we're going with this. So I can guarantee you that wherever you are in the world, basically that is the way that is going to work out. Now, to make this even worse, in order to keep the masses poor, what they do is, the way that the income tax, the personal income tax normally works, is it works on a sliding scale. So on the lower brackets, there's not going to be a lot of tax or no tax because of rebates. And then as soon as you start making money, you're going to fall into what we call a higher marginal rate. In other words, now they're going to start tax you, but then you've got the average tax and the marginal rate. So the marginal rate, it's literally these brackets. And as you progress, they're taking more and more and more, up to here in South Africa, where they're going to take from income tax 45%, just like that. Right, anything above, I think at the moment it's about 1.5 million. Now, can you see what happens? In other words, 90% of the time, if you've got a job, you want to get out of this rat race. And the way to get out of the rat race is to work harder, or at least that's what we've been conditioned. And as soon as you work harder, you are starting to work against you, because you stay exactly the same place. So they're taking away from you. But here's something that very few people know, and that I'm going to share with you tonight. The more they take from you, the more they take from themselves. Right? I know it's going to sound strange at this stage, but just give me a while. And when I get into this, you're going to see that the more they take from us, the public, the more they jeopardize the economy. Now, here's the problem. If it is a socialistic motive behind all of this, a communistic motive, then their job will be to tax the rich people in order to get everyone into the same level. Because the reason why they want the masses to be poor is because poor people are dependent on government. The rich people are not dependent on government. We can be wherever we want to be. But poor people, or even the middle class, are stuck within this country, within the laws of the country, and therefore they've got absolute power. Now, here's a problem. The moment that you've got power, you've got control. But absolute power means absolute control. And this is what a communist system wants, right? Now, I'm not going to talk politics. We are talking about how can you protect yourself and get the most in terms of your legacy, the legacy that we want to leave. Okay, so if we're going to do nothing, they will take everything. But there's a trick. We can decide to use exactly the same system legally that is basically taking from us to help us to create a tax-free legacies for generations to come. And I'm going to touch on that. That is, of course, if you want me to touch on that. So if you want me, just give me a yes and tell me, honest, go for that, and then I'm going to maybe touch on that. Right, the poor pays a very high percentage of the income. Wealth consume related taxes. Limited beliefs are costly. Anger, resentment being temporarily soothed. Nobody wins. Yeah, that is the system. And Bob, you from the USA. It's not only in the USA, it's here in South Africa. It's all over. Peter says, yes, please. Okay, so I'm going to go for this. So here's the question. How can you pay the least amount of possible? How can we do this? Well, there's only three ways that we can bypass the system legally. And that is that we have to learn the skills. Okay? And there's only three high value skills. There's actually four skills, but three are high business or income skills. And they are, first of all, high income skills. So that unfortunately can put you in a higher tax bracket if you don't get the whole thing right. And I see there's a lot of yeses coming in and absolutes and yes, right? The second one is high business skills, but we must be very careful because remember Robert Kiyosaki's The Four Quadrants? The small business owner, the professional people specifically, they think they've got a business, but they are sitting ducks for the tax man. And then, of course, the high businesses, which pays a lot less tax than the small businesses, and then the investors. Now, so the high income skills and the high business skills. High income skills is where I've got the skills to generate income, but the bad part about that is I have to work for my money. Right. The second one is now I'm getting my business to work for me, but then they're also waiting for you. But then there's a third one, and that is your high investment skills. And your high investment skill is where the trick comes in, because that is the most valuable skill. Because if you know the part of high investment skills is your financial structures. How does that work? So you can immediately apply that to your high income skill as well as your high business skill. That's going to improve the investment skills. Now, why does it work so well? Well, your biggest enemy, or when it comes to creating a legacy, is going to be taxes. And taxes will be the second biggest cost in your life. Now, as a wealth creator, we know how to create, to grow, and to protect your wealth. That is the definition of a wealth creator. And as I've said, that the most important part about this is the protection of your wealth. So you're going to say to me, but Hannes, why? Because according to Saturn's law, the more money you make, the more opportunities you are creating for others, like the taxman, to basically steal that from you. Now, Willie Saturn was a notorious bank robber in America, and at one stage they interviewed him, and one of the people there asked him, but Willie, why is it that you only targeted banks? And he said, because that's where the money is. Okay, now why do you think SARS or the taxman target the rich people? Simply because rich people know how to make money. And therefore, because they've got these skills, the three skills that I've talked about, they know how to make the money, they've got the money. And that is what the government is doing. But they can't go directly with a gun. So they use the democracy, that system, in order to set in legislations, in order to get more votes, to polarize the rich from the poor. And then they say, but the problem is with the rich. And it's not with the rich, it's with the government. Now, their way of thinking, I've started by saying that Einstein said that you cannot solve a problem out of the same consciousness that created this, or the same thinking that created this problem. But this is exactly what we're allowing, because we allow the politicians that knows nothing about money, that knows nothing about running a country, that knows nothing about the economy, that knows nothing about the educational system or the financial system. We allow them to make the laws, and then we have to obey it simply because we're in a democracy. I hope that you see where I'm going to go with this. Okay, so they legalize the act of taking your hard-earned money through legislation. And then they, of course, call this tax laws. Right. Now, that's the reason why there are so many tax laws. And that is why they keep on creating more and more of these laws in order to get more and more taxes, because they need more taxes, because they appoint more of their cronies in certain positions so that they can stay in power. So how on earth do you want and do you protect your wealth? If you'd like to give it a go there, tell me if you want to know how to protect your wealth. And then maybe we can dive a little bit deeper into this. And thank you for all the comments that I'm getting. It's really, I really appreciate the fact that you are participating the way that you are doing that. And then also, I like the thumbs up and the likes and the hearts. Thank you, Netta, for that, and Yuan. Right. So how on earth do you protect your wealth? First of all, you have to become aware of what they are doing and, of course, what it is costing us. And then secondly, learn how to become an investor, right? Ideally, learn the 3 high value skills, but at least know how to become an investor. The reason why that is because what Robert Kiyosaki is referring to the 4 quadrants is you can be an employee, but if you know how to become an investor, and on that growth part you do not pay tax, guess what's going to happen? You're going to get out of the rat race. You're going to get out of the system. But you have to learn at least that skill. The same with the professionals, the small business, as well as the big business. If you're a CEO of a big business, you're still in that rat race because you're working for your money. It's only when you are really becoming an investor that things are where you know what to do. Right, and thank you for all the yeses. Betul and Rami and Rian and Hubert and Beverly and Jennifer. And by the way, there are so many, I can't follow you the whole time. So just know that I'm thankful that you are participating. Right, so it's becoming an investor because investor do pay basically no taxes. And we are getting all the incentives simply because we understand how the system operates. Right, a wealth creator, by now, you know, if you've joined my Wealth Creators Method, you know that we are actually getting everything for free. And there's no skill as valuable as the investment skills because you can apply it, as I've said, to all 3, basically to high income, high business, as well as to your investments. Okay. When it comes to tax, most people think that there's nothing that they can do. Unfortunately, fortunately, that is not the truth, because you can learn the skills in terms of how to do it. So at this point, perhaps, I think there's something important that I want you to get. And that is that all skills are teachable and learnable. Right. Now, a lot of people think that you are gifted or that you are born with certain gifts or certain skills. And that is not the truth. There's no one that is born with high income skills, high business skills, or high investment skills. No one. Just like no one is born with a set of belief systems. You know, I'm a boertjie here in South Africa. But if, say, for example, at the age of 1 or 2, my parents gave me up for adoption and someone in Russia adopted me. And they did not tell me who I am and that I'm actually born Afrikaans speaking in an Afrikaans speaking community. Guess what's going to happen? My total belief system, who I believe my parents is, who I believe in terms of my religion, my language, my everything is going to be different, although I'm still the same person. And that is why I say we think that we cannot and we haven't got the skills and we cannot learn certain things. But that is the system that wants to keep us enslaved to the system. And that is why we think only the rich people or only the clever people, the financial institutions, they know how to do and what to do. But I've seen so many auditors that's got no idea on how to handle their own tax affairs and how to grow their estates, because the educational system teaches us how to regurgitate information, and that is the problem. The system does not teach us and does not want us to know that we can think. And that is what we should do. So the more skillful you are, the less tax you're going to pay, and therefore the faster your legacy is going to grow. So the less skillful you are, unfortunately, the more taxes you're going to pay, and the more the taxman will legally, let's call it, steal from you. Of course, to them it's not stealing, but well, either the money is yours or it's not yours. So it basically comes down to a choice, and you can make that choice. Are you going to learn these high valuable skills, or are you going to pay more taxes and in the process let them steal your legacy? The choice, this is what I wanted to bring to you in this lesson. The choice is always going to be yours. It's never theirs. It's always yours. But unfortunately, the majority of people do not know that they've got a choice, right? And that is exactly what the system wants you to believe. Because if you do nothing, guess what's going to happen? If you do nothing, you are giving them permission, in other words, to the system, to take your hard-earned money away in the form of different taxes. And it's not in the interest of the tax system, the financial system, the political system to tell you what your rights are and how you can use that same system to legally pay no tax and to grow your legacy tax-free. By keeping silent about your rights to learn high investment skills, and the tax system will keep us in the dark and legally reduce your wealth with up to 99%. And I'm going to show this to you tonight without you even knowing that. Right. So Dan, thank you for those hearts, and Lilu, I really appreciate that. So can I show you? I'm going to go to Excel spreadsheet, and then I'm going to take you through the figures. And we're going just playing, let's call it hypothetical scenarios, just so that you can get the idea. And I think that's going to help you. So if it's okay and you want to see that and see the truth, then perhaps just let me know by giving me a 1. Right, so if I see the first one, I'm going to continue. I see there's a little bit of a lack, right? Christo says confolculation. Okay, confolculation, nothing wrong with the spelling there, Christo. Confolculation basically is a terminology that I've coined, is when you do not know that you don't know what you're supposed to know. So Peter, you're the first guy that's giving me a 1, and then Jennifer, and okay. So let me show you, and in order to do that, I need to go to, I hope that this is the right, yeah, there we go. And then I'm quickly going to take you through the process. So I'm going to hide that quickly. And then I'm going to make an assumption, and the assumption is very, very simple. Let's assume that you've got the ability, because you've got the skills, to double your money. And we're going to start with $100. Now, the majority of people here is here in South Africa, and therefore let's make it rand. But it can be dollars, euro. The principle is going to stay exactly the same. And thank you for all the ones that is coming in. Thank you, Lilu and Betuel and Julian and Beverly and Dan and Andres. Okay, thank you so much. Right, so that simply means that to get the 100% optimization, and we say this is the maximum, next year you're going to have 200, the 200 you double that to 400, the 400 you double to 800, 3 years from now on. And if you continue to do this, in 20 years you're going to have 104 million, that can be rands or dollars or pounds or yen or yuan or whatever, and then a year later 209. And we say that we call this your roof. In other words, your return on efficiency, right? Your return on efficiency will be 100%. So if you are 100% efficient in getting this right, you're going to find that at the end of that period, that you're going to sit with a situation where you've got 100% of what you've worked for, that will be yours. So if you get this, give me a 2, right? So Hubert, honest, you could pass for a Russian. Tanya will pass easier than myself. Okay, so if you, thank you for, so if you want to see how the system operates against you, basically just give me a 2 so that I know that I can continue. Etienne, you're the first person that's giving me the 2, and now the 2s are starting to come in. Thank you for that. Right, so let's get back and let me quickly show you how it operates. Right, I'm going to open this. Now, the first one that I'm going to do, I'm going to say there's no tax. Right, so you've got the ability. We say that it's 100, it becomes 200. That's 100 rand or dollar a profit. And thank you for all the 2s coming in. Right, so that means with 0 tax, you're going to sit with 100% roof. In others, your return on efficiency is going to be 100. What do you think is going to be? Let's assume that this is on top of what you're doing. In other words, you add this new venture, and therefore, because you're already in a 45% marginal rate, it means that every additional rand, dollar, euro, pound that you make, SARS or the taxman is going to take 45%. The moment that happens, let's go through it together. 100, you've got the ability to double that, so it's 200. That means 100 profit, and 45% of 100 is 45 rands, dollars, pound. That leaves you with 155. So the 155, that becomes your next year, your first. Now you double that. That means you take the 155 to 310. That gives you 155 profit. The tax on that, as you can see, without even the tax bracket increase, that is 69.75. That leaves you with 240. If you do this right through the period of 21 years, you're going to have 993,000 rand, we can say a million. Compare that to 209 million that you could have had. But here's the thing. SARS is only going to have 812. So SARS, taxman, is going to have 812,000. You'll have 993. That's your legacy. That is the thing that you are working for. Right. I hope that you can see what's happening. Now, there's something that I want to bring to you. Now, I know that I'm not the best in order to do calculations, but I believe that anyone can do these calculations, and I believe that the people in power are the people that should know how to do these calculations. The problem is that the more you steal from someone else, the more you steal from yourself. And this is what the socialistic system does not understand. A communist do not know that in the process, it's a spiral downwards. There is no ways to break that cycle once you've started with that process. Because the thinking is, I have to tax and I have to get more, and they think in a one-dimensional area. They do not think three-dimensional. They do not think in the fifth dimension. They think three-dimensional because in their mind, because they created the problem, they think the solution is more tax. And it's not more tax. And this, I can guarantee you that you will not get through their heads, even if they've got a PhD degree, because they cannot allow you to get out of this rat race. So let me show you what I mean with that. Remember this 812 and 900? Right, so now we're going to play around with it. What if you're only paying, let's say, 17% tax? Right, so they tax everyone 17%. How much money will they have? Instead of 800, they're going to have 6.6 million. And instead of you having only 1 million, you're going to have 32 million. Can you see what is busy happening? The moment that you allow and the moment that you help, the whole economy is going to change and start to boost. So one of the things that you should do, you know, the government here in South Africa is bringing out this for the poor people, and they're giving them another grant that the rich have to fund of, I think it's something like 350 Rand. But at the same time, they've got laws in place through the, let's call it the communistic regime, in terms of the unions, where the unions protect only those people that do have a job. So if I am willing to work for less money than the minimum pay, then I can't hire that person, because otherwise I'm committing an offense. But because you do not open the economy, millions of people are without the income. Yet at the same time, these people say, because of the millions are without the income, we'll give them 350 rands that we're going to take from the rich. Why not open it up so that if a person is willing to work for 1,200 rand, that person is a lot better off than 350 rand. But they will never allow that, because then the masses will not be dependent on them. I hope that you can see where we're going with this thing. So what's the ideal, what's the sweet spot? Let me show you what that sweet spot is. In the Bible, it talks about a tithing. A tithing is basically a tenth, right? So at 10%, you're going to get the maximum, 71 million. Can you see how that can stimulate the whole tax system and the economy? And SARS will get the maximum, 7.9 million. If you make that just 9%, SARS is going to do themselves in. It's 7.8 million. If you make it 11%, you're going to find that SARS is doing themselves in. So SARS will always do themselves in as long as that figure is not exactly 10%. And you can play around with that. So if you're going to play around with it at 9.9%, you're going to see that SARS will get less money over a lifetime, a working time, than what they're going to get when they tax you at 10% flat rate to everyone. So when we started, I said, why don't we tax the poor and incentivize the rich? So how do you do that? You tax the poor by telling them, listen, we're going to take 10%, irrespective. Every single rand that you earn, 10% profit, that is going to be taxable. And you incentivize the rich by saying, listen, we're only going to tax you at 10%. Now, because the rich people know how to make money, guess what they're going to do? Immediately, their productivity is going to go up. Because the productivity is going up, they're going to hire more people. The people are going to pay the 10% because they've, for the first time, got a job. There's more than 50% apparently of the young people here in South Africa that hasn't got a job and that's got no chance to find a job. But suddenly they'll have a job. 10% of that goes to SARS, and immediately you broaden the tax base. But not only that, the rich people that knows how to make money is going to take this economy absolutely to another level. And in doing so, as soon as this snowball effect starts to happen, we'll change this country and every country around the world into an incredible country. Because as soon as that growth starts to happen, a lot of the problems, the big problems that we've got, is simply going to disappear. And I hope that this helps a little bit. Right. So what if, let's get back here, because there's something else that I'd like to show you quickly. What if you know how not to pay a cent tax on this? And do you know, on this 209 million, and do you know that we, the rich people, that we know how to do that? But let's assume that at this point we let go and we pay a capital gain. And let's assume that that capital gains tax is 50%. Guess what's going to happen? The roof is still going to be 61% by simply doing that. Why? Because the 104 is still 104 million more than the best tax system that SARS or the taxman can give us at 10%, which is 71%, 71 million. So I hope that you see that it's of the utmost importance that you must learn and educate yourself the tax system, how it operates, and how you can grow. Because as an investor, I guarantee you that even though, and with my high value, my method students, my Wealth Creators method students, I'm actually showing them how you in your personal name or your company or your trust do not have to pay a single cent tax, even that 104 million. There are ways where we do not pay that. And SARS help us to pay that, and SARS stimulate us in order to do that. But the condition is that you need to get the high value skills. The moment that that happens, the moment that you've got that, that is your ticket out of this mess. And at the same time, you can literally help the rest of your countrymen in order to get out of this mess. Now, if this is something that you would like to know, then I basically want to invite you to the High Value Skills Masterclass, where I'm going to share with you 3 more secrets. Is there anyone that would like this? By the way, there's no sales in that in this session, and there's no sales in the High Value Master Skills. My job is to contribute by empowering you so that you can have the knowledge in order to make informed decision. If that is what you want, just give me a yes. Yes, honest, I would love to have a link or to be invited to the High Value Master Class. And then as soon as I see there's at least one yes, then what I'd like to do is to share with you what I will be sharing with you during that master class. Okay, so Hubert, brilliant concept. This is very insightful, but I still do not see a yes at the moment. I think there's quite a big lag. Oh yes, please, Jennifer, you're the first one. Thank you for that. Peter says yes, and now Frick yes, and Yolanda and David, and okay, there we can carry on. And Wiseman, check here. Right, so in this training session, I've talked about one of the ways that the system keeps you poor, and thank you for all the yeses that is coming in. But there's another system that is even perhaps, I can almost say, more corrupt, right? And this is what Robert Kiyosaki talks in his book about fake teachers and fake money, where they literally steal, the financial system steal as the taxman steal, but the financial system is worse because they do not help us to get ahead. They've got the same agenda than what SARS has got, the taxman, right? So in that high value class, I'm going to share with you 3 life-changing secrets with you. The first secret that I'm going to share with you will be how the financial system deliberately lies to us in order to keep the poor and the middle class and make them literally poorer. And what you can do not to be a victim in their life, in terms of their lives. Now, I'm going to make this super simple for you to understand. And I'm going to use a simple example. Once you've seen how they operate, I guarantee you that you will not trust them with your money ever again in your life. And you're going to see how simple it is to apply and to learn these high value skills. But you have to learn that. So the second secret that I'm going to share with you is once we understand how this system operates, and I'm talking now about the financial system. By now we know a little bit about the tax system. But can you see how devastating this is? Let me show you quickly. Let me show you how the system in essence works so that you can understand. You see, let's assume that you, let's go there. Let's say that you are making in the vicinity of 122,000 Rand per year. Right. This is what you're making. You a profit or 61,000 rands or pounds or dollars. Then, according to 45%, they're going to take, of course, where are we? Now we have to move up to this. Let's make that 59. That gives you, was it 46,000 profit. And then they're going to take 20,000, right. But this process is going to be repeated over and over because, and the easiest way, sorry, to explain this is this 155. Because out of your surplus, sorry, I don't think you can see it. I need to get back so that you can see that screen. Sorry about that one. So I'm going to take that 150. You can just take 255,000. The principle is going to work exactly the same. And I think I've got a spreadsheet where I've seen this. I just want to see where I'm going to get this. I'm not sure if it's this one or this one. Apparently I erased that. Okay. Yeah, I won't be able to show that to you. But what do you think is going to happen when you invest that money with a financial institution? You're going to get the surprise of your life, because now you haven't got the money to bring it back so that you can work with the money. And that's the principle that I'm going to share with you. Right. So now, once you understand how the system operates, then we're going to have a look at the 3 high value skills. So I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into that. But I think the most important part is that I'm going to give you then an example how I've personally used these skills. It was actually a challenge that I took on a couple of years ago, and I turned 79 cents here in South Africa into more than 10 millions in just 2 years and 3 months, because we've got an international audience. At that point in time, it was about 12 American cents, and we turned that into just more than $1.3 million. Right. So the way that we did that, that is, once we understand that, then I'm going to use this blueprint as the third secret, where I'm going to share with you during this webinar. That is, if you want to see it, or this masterclass, if you want to participate to increase your skill levels, how I've applied the first part in terms of the system, and then the 3 high value skills to turn that 79 cents into 10 millions, or the 12 cents into 1.3 millions. And then we're going to deconstruct that process. And I literally will give you the Wealth Creators Blueprint so that you'll be in a position to do it yourself. Now, of course, if you haven't got the skills, you're going to battle a little bit. But I'm going to show you different ways, and then I'm going to direct you to more education, so that is only for the series. You know, unfortunately, we are in a society where we want immediate gratification, and we think we listen to one session like this and then we know what to do. We've got the information, but we don't know how to do it. But if you want to become an investor, you have to take the responsibility to learn the skills. Now, the great thing is, in that masterclass, I'll show you ways to speed up the process dramatically. So if this is something that, first of all, you will not find this information anywhere in the world. I can absolutely guarantee that to you. But secondly, if that is something that you would like to be part of, if you'd like to be invited, then just give me a yes, invite me. And maybe what I can do, Netta, I think you're on. What we can do, as soon as we're done with this, and this applies to people that listen at a later stage as well, maybe you can give us the link where they can book. I do this on a regular basis, the High Value Masterclass. And then also, for the once we're done, I'm going to get into the what do you call this? Not the comment section, but in the description area, and I'll put the link there for people that. So you're going to see there's a show more, and if you click on that, it's going to open up, and I'll put that link if you want to subscribe. So I see there's a lot of yeses coming in. I really right, Yolanda, you'll be invited. Netta, if you can put the link. And then at a later stage, perhaps we can put the link in. So just come back to this. And then also, please do me a huge favor. If you think that this, you found that beneficial, and you know of someone else that we can help in doing this, I guarantee you, the financial institution is not going to spread this, and the government is not going to spread this. So the only people that will be able to spread this and help us will be you. So if you haven't subscribed to Hannes Dreyer, Dr. Hannes Dreyer, Wealth Creator, Dr. Wealth Creator, right, then please make sure on YouTube that you do so, because that is going to help the algorithms in order to get this information out. And then share that with people. Maybe do that on Facebook. You know, you don't have to, but this is a way that we can grow this channel, and this is a way that we can get this information out to other people. And thank you for for the thumbs up. I really appreciate that. Right. So as soon as we've got the link, then if you've got any questions, then, by the way, this masterclass, this high value masterclass, I've mentioned that, but I want to mention that again. I guarantee you that there's not going to be any sales pitches. In other words, I'm not going to get to the end and then start with the sales pitch. It will be 100% content in order to help you to make informed decisions about what to do and what you want to do, and if you want to put in the time and the effort. Most people, unfortunately, will not be able to do it. But I think if you're still with me, then this is something that I think you know is important. And if that is the case, then I would love to add more value to you. Right, so if you're serious about your future, make sure that you find that. Come back at the later stage in the description area. We're going to do that. And if you've got a question at this point in time, maybe it's time, we've got the time to do it. It's still about 9 minutes before it's an hour. So maybe I can take a question or two from your side. And then really do me a favor, make sure that you subscribe to this channel. Make sure that you click that little icon, that bell icon, so that we can notify you and that I can perhaps grow this channel. I will really appreciate that. But that is only if you think that I've added value and that value can help you to have a better life. Right. So at this point in time, if you do have any questions, then please let me know and let me have a look and let me see if I can perhaps answer that. Right. So apparently I don't see that Netta has given us any, maybe she's not on. Right. So there's a lot of people that says, yes, please invite me, let's do it. Only start with the video now. No problem with that, Afani. Go through at your own time. And then Netta at least gave me a heart. So Netta, maybe give me, in this comment section, you can give us the link as well. And then people can start already booking. Otherwise, they have to come back. But yeah, that's it. Right, so I don't see any questions. If you, at the later stage, want to add a question or there's something specifically that you want me to teach you, please do that. And then I think that we are going to call it a night. Right. Julian says, can you? I'm not sure, Julian, what you mean with can you. Thanks, very informative. You're on. Right, so thank you so much for your time. And then I'll see you in the next one. Of course, if you've pressed that bell and you've subscribed, we're going to let you know when the next session will be due. And I'll try to do it as quickly as possible. There's something in terms of property that I'd like to share with you that's going to be amazing, but that is only if you've got already a property. Right. Leon says, Hannes, so we will learn about the tax strategy as well in that section. No, Leon, in that session, I'm going to get into the financial system, how they operate, and then the high value skills. So if you want to learn more about the real tax strategies, Leon, unfortunately, I'm saving that for my high value and high paid wealth creators method students. Okay, that is where we dive deep into that. But those people are paying a lot of money in order to learn these strategies. So I'll touch the base and give you enough information so that you can start looking where to try to find it, right? But that is only going to be for my method students. Okay, we call them our legacy mentoring students. Okay, and with that, then thank you so much for your time, and I'm going to see you then, well, hopefully one of these days. Right, so now I need to find a way to exit. Right, thanks for your time.